Okay, so welcome back, Henry.
Thanks.
Yeah, so now we'll see how can we take input from user. And previously we saw that we need to declare again and again the prompt variable to take multiple input from the user. Now we will see how can we take input from the user by using a single loop, and we can store data inside our inside an array. So let me copy this code from here and then paste it in VS Code. So now let me explain at first what this code will do. Then I will run this code. Okay, so at first we declared the prompt sync package from node package manager, or npm. We all know that, so I'm not gonna discussing about it anymore. And here we take a input. We take input from user. We just take a variable, and then we take input a number, and we store that inside a variable a. And then what happened here? We have declared an array. Let me put var before that array, and let me comment out this line. Actually, this is not necessary. So we declared an array that is empty, and we throw a loop, and this loop will run for how many times? 5 times, right? So it will ask the user to enter 5 number, okay? And it will push each number inside this array, this empty array, okay? And then finally, we are logging that empty array in our console, okay? So let me give here something so that we can see what number, the serial of number here, okay? And now let me see if it works. Oops. There's a problem, and maybe we need to, okay, let me leave it. Enter a number just, okay. What happened here? Okay, we need to put another parenthesis, and now fast forward.js. Okay, let me put a space here so that we can enter with a little bit ease. Let me stop. Okay, and now let me run the code again. So now it's asking to enter a number, so I'm gonna enter in 2, and then it's asking again. I'm gonna enter in 3. I'm gonna then enter in 7, maybe then 89, and then it will ask 0. I can see that we entered how many number? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 number, and then this program is stored this number inside this array, and then after the loop is completed, the array is propagated by this number that user gave input, and we print this number here. Okay, so by using this, actually we can take input from user and we can push inside our array. We can even increase the value, or we can do whatever we want actually. For example, if we want to do some operation based on the number user give, and maybe let me declare an array, like what type of, maybe type of now, maybe, and keep it empty as well. Okay, and now let's say we want to see what type of number user is giving us, and if it's an even number, we want to write some logic here, and then there a first element, the element will be type of number even, and if it's an odd number, the element will be of this type of element will be odd. Okay, so we wanna see that. So how can we do that? We just need to write some logic, as we are storing the value of user inside this variable a. So if it's divisible by 2, that means it's an even number. If it's not, and it will be an odd number. So if it's divisible by 2, what we want to do, to be what? To be like that. Okay. So if it's divisible by 2, there will be no remainder. The remainder becomes 0. So what we want to push put inside this array even this word, and if it's not divisible by 2, I mean we don't get 0 as remainder, we want to put inside this array odd. Okay, so just need to write here else and then dot push. Okay, let's see out. Okay, so now after iteration, I want to console here the type of numbers are. Okay, and then I just wanna oops, to be in any of the numbers are. I just wanna print the num type, that array, type of num array. Okay, now let me run this code. Not last for yes. So let's put 5 at first, and then 7, and then maybe 9, and then maybe 112, and then maybe 48. And we're here. You can see that our first number was an odd number, so we got odd as a first element inside this array, type of num array, and then so it goes until we got a even number, and that is when the user gave 12 as input. It comes here even. When in case of 48, it's also even. So this is how we can take input from user and propagate our empty array, and then we can do some other calculation and some other operation based on those response. So I hope all of these things are clear to you now. If it's clear, actually we are almost done about our basic things. Maybe we have another basic thing, and that is how can we remove elements from an array, and then we have an advanced thing, and that is 2D array. So I think it's important, as I have given a few questions on based on 2D array in the assignment 4. So I want you to learn it, and it's also will be helpful when we will go to our Google Earth Engine course. I mean the part of the Google Earth Engine. That time we'll discuss more about 2D array and how 2D array works in case of storing image and other things. So let me know if you have any question.
It's clear, Ramesh.
Okay, thank you very much, Henry. So let's see how can we remove an element from array. I'm going to clearing all these things, and then simply declare another array here and just put 1, 2, 5, 6, and 8, maybe, and then 9. Okay. So now I want to make this array empty one by one. So how can we do that? It's very simple. If we call, as we saw, a method push, built-in method for array, we have another built-in method, and that is pop. So what will pop do? It will remove the number, okay, from for example, if we use air.pop, and if we keep it empty, it will remove the last element. Okay, so here we pop last element, and then let me log the array in the console there, and let's see what we see. So you can see that we have here until 9, but after popping the last element, we have got until 8. Okay, so whenever we use the pop method, what will it do? It will remove the last element. Okay, it will remove the last element. If we use it more, it will actually remove more elements. So now at first it will remove 9, then it will remove 8, then it will remove 6. So we'll be left with 1, 2, 5. Okay, let me run this code again. Let's so you can see that we're now left with 1 to 5. Okay, let's see if it can remove an individual element. Let's see it. No, it doesn't work this way. Okay, so I think it's clear now to you that how can I push, pop, and propagate and use things. I mean, we take input from user and use those things inside our array. Now let's talk about 2D array. So 2D array is like a how can I say? It's like an array of array. So we talked about Microsoft Excel at the beginning, And now we come back again to Excel, because if we want to understand 2D array, we need to understand how referencing works in the Excel. So let me try to draw something. So for example, here, okay, let me go to where I wanna go. I wanna go here in the empty page. So for example, here in our we have a table. Okay, so our table has say 1 and then 2 and then 3 column. Okay, I'm sorry because my writing becomes so horrible. So here we have 1 and then 2 row, right? So what will be the reference of this? So for example, this cell. Okay, the reference of this cell will be 2 comma 3, right? Because the 2 comes from the row number and 3 comes from the column number. Okay, so remember it. Always the row number comes first and then the column number comes second. It's almost similar like as we have Cartesian plan, and when in case of Cartesian plane, what we do, we use here, I mean the center as 0, 0, and then we count it first x, like 1, 2, 3. We count along the x-axis, and then we count along the y-axis, and then we plot a number. So here you have gone 3, and here we have gone like 4. So here we will have a number. So the reference of this number will be 3, 4, right?
Right.
Yeah. So we'll use things actually, I mean kind of this way in 2D array. So our 2D array will be array of array. Now let's go back to our slide and our VS Code and see how this row and column things work in 2D array. So one thing I've forgotten to mention here is that when we talk about row number, for example, this is our second row, right? And here the row number is the same, but the column number becomes different, right? So the reference of this cell will be 2, 1, this cell will be 2, 2, this cell will be 2, 3, right? The row number remains same, but the column number is changing, right? And then it will go this way actually. I mean, the row number will come first and then column number will be changed every time, okay? Now let's see how can we do things by using 2D array. So for example, let me declare an array and I say it's here 2D, as we can't declare a variable name by giving number at first. We have to write this way. So inside this variable, I mean, as it's a 2D array, we'll have few columns and few rows, right? So let me let's say we have 3 column and like 2 or 3 row. Okay, so the first row will be 1, 2, and 3. Okay, and then it's our first row. So we have 3 column here. 1 is the first column, 2 is the second column, and 3 is belong to the third column. So now let's declare another row, and here we'll have 3 column also, and that is, let's say, 5, 6, and 7. Okay, so here okay, let me reduce the gap so that it can easily be understood. So you could see that we have 2 row and 3 column now. And now let me declare another row, and that is 9, maybe 12, maybe 13. Okay, 11, or let's say 1 or 8. Okay, so now we have declared a 2D array, and what we have here, we have 3 row and 3 column, right? So how things work here, how indexing will work in here. So it's an actually, if we say the 2D array actually is an array of array, right? Because we have an array from the outside bracket here, and then inside this outside bracket, I mean inside this array, we'll have another array in each place, right? The outside array in the 0 index, we have another array, and then in 1 index we have another array, and then in 2 index, I mean in the third place, we have another array, right? So we can say it like that. At first we have first row, we have 3 columns. Second row, we have 3 columns. Third row, we have 3 columns, right? So now let's see how can we print each element of this array by using for loop. Okay, so I'm gonna declaring a variable and it will be 0, and then how long it will run? So it will run until our row number, until as many row as we have, right? So how many row we have here? 1, 2, 3. So how can we dynamically calculate the number of rows here? We can use the length of this array, right? So ar2d. So I less than ar2d dot length. Okay. So the value of I will be increased by 1, and then inside this loop. So let's log each element of the, the first, all the elements of the 2D array. This array will print at first, and this array, and then we'll throw another loop. So at first, let's just show this element at first, and then now what we want. So we want to display this value, right? So this value remains in the column. So loop will run through all the row, right? This loop will run through the row, right? So when the value I equals 0, this will come here. This will display this whole array 1, 2, 3. Okay. So we have 3 columns inside this array. So now, if we want to display each element of this array, what we need to do? We need to declare another loop, and then let's declare another loop, and this is for. So what do we do here? We'll declare the variable j, and how will we determine length? So now, see here. So when it comes here, what will we do? We just want to know the length of the ith index of R2D, right? I mean, when the value of I is 0, okay, and it comes inside AR2D 0 place, and when it's in the 0 place, we have three element here, right? We have an array and it's have 3 element, so we want to know the length of the ith elements. Okay, so what will we do? J less than AR2D, and then I, and then dot length. Okay, have you got it, Henry? Have you got it?
So I wanna show the print tool to understand more.
Okay, for sure. So let me make it a bit more clear, and that is what we have done here. At first, we are iterating through the row, right? So the outer loop, it will go through each row, first row, second row, third row. So what we'll have inside each row, we have 3 columns: first column, second column, third column, first column, second column, third column, right? So when we enter inside a row, what we need to do, we need to run another loop so that loop can go each column, right? So the outer loop, the value of I, it will go through each row, and then we need to run another loop so that inside that row, that loop can print each column, okay, each column. That's why we use here a loop in the outside. It comes from where? The outer bracket, and then inside that loop, we run another loop, and it will print the column. Okay, this is a column. Look, 1, 5, 9. This is a column. 2, 6, 12. This is another column. 3, 7, 8. This is another column. But we have to catch those column row by row. Okay. At first, we'll enter inside the row. The row is 1, 2, 3. The first row is, the 0 index. In the 0 index, we got first row 1, 2, 3. So when we go inside the first row, we'll have 3 column. One is in the first column, 2 in the second column, and 3 in the third column. Okay, let me it a little bit easier for you. Like, what are the number of total column inside each row? So for example, here we have 3 column, we have 3 column, we have 3 column inside each row, right? So we want to run this loop for until it becomes 3, right? 0, 1, 2. So this loop will run for each row, and it will return 0, 1, 2 for total number of column of each row, right? So now let me, okay, we need to increase the value of j by 1. Let me try to log here. So what will you do here? At first, we'll catch row number, and then what will we do? We'll catch column number. Okay, I hope it's clear now. So this index is the row number, and this index is the column number. Okay, have you got it? Hello, Henry, could you understand it? Hello, are you there? Oops. Yeah. Oh, okay. What you write? Yes. Okay. Thank you. Yeah, sure. Ask me. Yeah, go ahead. I'm waiting for a response. I don't hear you. I'm sorry. I don't know if I'm audible. Okay. Okay. Thank you. Okay. Now, let's try to print it out and see what we have got here. It shows. Okay. Maybe we have some error here. Let's see from where the error is coming. Oh, okay. I'm sorry to know that. It's okay. No problem. Yeah, so you can see. Okay, let me comment out this line so that I can see it. Yeah, so here we can see the first index is the row number and the second index is the column number. So now let's explore again. So in the first index, when it comes 0, and the second index, it's also 0. Okay, so it indicates the number 1. Reference number for one is 0, 0. The column number, I mean the index of the column also 0. The column, the index of the row is 0, and the index of the column also 0. And then when it goes to second element, it becomes what? The row index becomes same, it stays same, but the column index increased by 1. So when it comes here, the reference of this number is 0, 1. First index is a row index, and the second index is the column index. Okay, and this way it goes through all the element and it shows here the number. Okay, now let's say we wanna input this 2D array inside a 1D array. Okay, I mean we don't want these complex things. We just wanna break the things, and we wanna put all this array, all this number in a 2D in a 1D array. Okay, so how can we do that? So let me declare another array, and that is 1D, one dimension, and we keep it empty. So here, whenever each element of this 2D array comes, what we want to do, we just wanna push those elements inside this 1D array. Okay, so we write here push, and then just push one by one each element. Okay, and now let me console the log. What do we see here? 1D. Okay, now let's run the code. So you can see that we have gotten 1D array, and that 1D array is propagated by the number which you have got from the 2D array. Okay, so we actually can do lots of other things, like we can increase the value of each element of this 2D array, and we can do many other things. For example, we can even represent a whole Excel sheet inside our 2D array, and we can also represent an image. I mean, there are many other advanced things and uses of 2D array actually. So I hope these things are clear now to you. The main message here is that here we'll work at first with rows, and then we'll work with column. I mean, the reference number of rows come first, and then the reference number of columns comes. So let me know if you have any question. Okay, thank you very much. I think we are done for today. If you don't have any question, yeah, you have to practice. You can let me know if you have any confusion or question. I think this part is really a little bit tricky. I mean, the 2D array, if as you are beginner, but if you practice more and more, it will be easier actually. And it's really amazing. I think it's very amazing. think row and column wise, okay? For example, here, just think the whole thing has a row and column, okay? Then it will be easier for you to understand. And as we saw that in the Excel sheet, whenever we think about the reference of any cell, what comes first? The reference of row number, and what comes then? The reference of column number, okay? So, yeah. Let me know if you have any question when you're practicing, okay? We'll try to explore together and understand. Okay, so I think we're done for today's lecture. So we'll have one or two more class on basic programming, and then yeah, thank you. And then we will enter in the kingdom of Google Earth Engine, and then we'll use all this concept there. Though I have covered many basic things from grounding off, you know, I think you are now ready to jump in any other programming language and any other stack, you know, because I have tried to cover all the basic things that are necessary for dig deeper through a programming language or a stack like web development, app development, or any other thing. Actually, you have to learn more about basic things, but you can start from here. I mean, we have discussed all the basic things that are so common in all programming languages. Yeah. Okay. So, Henry. Okay, this part is important. Yeah, it is. Yeah. Okay. Thank you very much. See you again. And the assignment 4 link is available. I'm going to send you again. You get it. Let me know if you have any question. Let me stop the recording at first.